Chapter 1. Graveyard Shift. Late August, 1919. Somewhere in the North Dakota prairie. The harvest moon was down to its last sliver, feebly backlighting the wrinkled gray crepe that hid the stars. But for the man with a pick and shovel, it cast light enough. He had dug many graves in the hard soil of the high plains, most of them in the dark. He was an old hand at it. He occasionally used a hooded lantern to check his progress or reorient himself, but he really didn't need it. He could do the job with his eyes closed. It didn't have to be as deep as a real grave, only deep enough so that the coyotes or stray dogs couldn't dig the body up, and the spring plows would glide harmlessly over it. Waist high was good enough. 2 or 3 hours' work. He threw the dirt all to one side of the hole, away from the mountain of straw from the day's threshing operation. The straw pile screened him from the farm buildings a quarter-mile away and gave him a sense of security and privacy. He looked down at the dead girl and decided the hole was big enough. She was so pale that even in the dim light he could clearly make out her naked body. The eyes that had so recently shed tears of despair were now frozen in perpetual horror. The mouth that had tried to scream was slack and shapeless, just another dark gash to match the many others where he had bled her to purify the earth. And the earth needed so very much purifying. He rested for a moment, leaning on the shovel handle, and looked across the field of stubble, just starting to be covered by a thin layer of ground fog. For hundreds of miles in every direction, he knew it was the same. The land of the buffalo, the land of the cowboy, the land of the billowing prairie grasses, all torn up, leveled, plowed, planted, and plucked. God's prairie had been beaten into a money factory. It was more than just wrong. It was obscene. Sooner or later, he was absolutely certain both God and the earth would have their revenge. But until that day, he preserved some semblance of balance in the universe. He watered the ground with blood. He atoned for all the folks who were too self-satisfied or stupid to do it for themselves. He was the last virtuous man on the high plains, and he was virtuous enough for everybody. "You must have broken a lot of hearts with those big doe's eyes," he said to the corpse, "and that pouting mouth that just begged to be kissed." And that, of course, is what had made her such a good sacrifice. Many people would mourn her loss. He felt a slight lump in his pocket from the locket he had taken from her, and he snorted at the thought of it. What kind of a person has her own picture in her locket? And also her name, professionally engraved. He didn't usually know the names of his offerings. He mentally chided himself for speaking out loud, but he was feeling expansive. He had done such a fine job, after all. The fog was beginning to drift down into the open grave. He threw the body in and shoveled the dirt on top of it. He took his time, tamping down all the loose corners, leaving no soft spots to settle and call attention to themselves. When he was done, and the whole area was stamped down thoroughly, it was just slightly higher than the surrounding ground. It was also noticeably cleared of mown wheat stubble, but that would not be a problem. He put the shovel and pickaxe off to one side and picked up his other tool, a pitchfork. From the huge pile next to the grave, he pitched straw on top of the dirt until it was covered to the depth of his knees. In the morning, the nearby threshing machine would be cranked up once again, the job of harvesting the field would be finished, and the pile of discarded straw would be even bigger. Then the machine would be moved away and the pile would be set on fire, and when there was nothing left of it but smoldering ashes, nobody would notice or care if there was a break in the stubble pattern. It had worked before. Many times. It would work again. He had been purifying the land since 1914, when the people of Europe had started purifying their own overworked fields with lakes of blood. Their work was finished now. He didn't think his would ever be. It was good, having a vocation. He admired his handiwork one last time, then put out the lantern, picked up his tools, and had a last look around the flat landscape, and froze. 10 yards away, a man stood looking at him, saying nothing. He was tall and solidly built, but lean.